come in this place, Lord. You come in this space. You come in this man cave. Yes. You come in here. You transform it to a temple. You make it a temple that you need to use to get out what you need to get out. Good evening. This is Keith Withrow coming at you again with the Power Up Man Cave. Here's my man, Gary Rambo. We're back at you again. And remember to always like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Support us. We're trying to bring some good content to you for you guys. And we want to continue talking about the COVID-19 subject matter that we talked about in the last two episodes. Talk about the fight portion of what's going on with the COVID-19. What is the fight? The fight is while your loved one is in the hospital fighting the virus, as you're praying and trying to provide support, but you can't be there. So we're calling that the fight. The mental, physical, and the spiritual fight that's going on. So we just want to touch on that a little more. People are alone. You can't go to the room. You can't be there and hold their hand. You can't give them a kiss on the head or kiss them on their cheek or have a conversation while they're there. You're remote. You're not even allowed on the property. So that's what we want to get into a little bit more.
The fight is actually a really appropriate title, because that's exactly what this is.
Yeah.
This is a battle. Faith over fear, in Keith's case, happened to his mom, having contracted disease, dealing with, the fact he couldn't see her.
Yes.
So dealing with all of that, God is like, hey, I know it's tough, but are you gonna believe me or not?
Right.
Are you gonna believe what my word says or not? I remember a minister I saw recently, and he was speaking about situations and how they get tough. And so sometimes you have to do what he called level up.
Yeah.
What are you doing that you can step it up and do more in terms of honing your relationship with God so that you can trust him more?
Yeah.
Because that was something I felt like that I need to do that, I could help my friend, so I could help him in terms of, my prayer life, encouraging, Keith in his tough time. Because we just putting our faith together and believing, that she's gonna be okay.
Right.
Some situations you could call like a high leverage moment. This is the trigger point that should trigger you to just come in and just and make that you should level up, make that change, because see, we have seen God's answer to prayer.
Yes.
I mean, in living and breathing right in front of us.
Yes, that's right.
In the same situation.
Yes.
It's just a matter of just having faith and believing, and so that was one great example of that, right?
Yeah, you talk about level up, man. What do you use to level up? I had to go to prayer life to level up. So what I did, I just went into this hard, like praise and worship, prayer, study, every day as much as I could. Again, that's what I held on to. Now I'm gonna get into man talk. My mother and father had divorced, so I was like kind of like the gatekeeper, and like my mom's protective device. Like I was the guy who watched out for her, made sure she was good, had her back. So I'm a fixer. I want to bring a solution to the table. So what I did, in this case, I couldn't physically fix this because of course I'm not a physician. Nobody knew what to do to fix it. So what did I have to do? Only thing I could do is pray and worship and be there in prayer. But I'm gonna tell you, I had to deal with the feeling of not being substantial enough. And I still deal with that now because in some ways I feel like I let her down because I wasn't there to protect her. And I wasn't there and I couldn't do anything about it.
So what's the learning experience? The learning experience is that you don't control anything. Us as humans, we can't control much. We think that we are in control of way more than what we're actually capable of controlling. So it teaches you hands off, put it in God's hand, do your part by praying and worshiping. And what is his will be done. So that fight portion, I wanted to talk about it because it's a real tough situation to be in when you can't go and physically be with your loved one and they're all alone and they're by themselves fighting, thanks to the medical staff and all of the care providers that are doing their absolute best. And I'm very thankful for what they did. I mean, they actually were very, very helpful. And that staff, and I'm gonna say that's the Douglas County Wellstar, that staff were very, very helpful. They really cared. They cried in the end when we lost her. They were so devastated when we lost her. So I like to take this time to say thank you for all the healthcare providers out there and all of the people who are involved, and all of the people who are in the labs, everybody that's involved with trying to come up with a cure, vaccination for this thing, all of the frontline healthcare providers that are putting themselves in harm's way to try to fight off this deadly virus. Thank you. Even though my mother didn't make it, I just want to say thank you. You did a great job and keep up the great work.
For me, in terms of the level up part, mine was very similar to Keith because I had to, in terms of getting my prayer life on a certain routine, daily basis, usually around the same time, dedication to the Lord, starting off my day in that way.
Yes.
Because it sets the tone for your day.
Yes.
Just be, truth be told.
Yes.
But the question I want to ask you guys, of course, is what can you all do to level up, or what have you done in the past, to level up in terms of situations that have come up, where you had to, increase your faith level.
Yep. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I guess the good thing about all this is, if you got your prayer life intact and you have a ongoing relationship with the Lord, you can get through these things, even though they're still going to be difficult. But you're not starting from baseline. At least you're already grounded. You have an understanding. You're still going to have grief. You're still going to be hurt. You're going to have some tough times. But why am I even talking about this to you guys is to say, hey, level up by getting your prayer life together, having a relationship intact already. You don't have to be in a particular, it's good to have a prayer spot, prayer closet, prayer room, some secret place you go. But guess what? You can be driving down the road. You don't have to have your eyes closed. You don't have to be in a particular place. You can be driving down the street. One day I was driving down the street and I went off, everything got going so fast in my day. And I was like, man, I forgot to go and pray and get in my room and get on my knees and pray. And I was like, man. And then all of a sudden the Holy Spirit spoke to me and says, you can pray to me right now. You can have your praise and worship right now, driving down the street with your eyes open, looking at the traffic. And it was like a wow moment for me just to hear that voice in my spirit ear to tell me that. And I'm like, wow. For all these years, I was thinking I had to get on my knees, get in a certain, and it's good to do that. Be respectful, lay prostrate sometimes, whatever. But you can be driving down the road. You can be having your own praise and worship service in your vehicle. You can be praying and having a relationship with the Lord anytime you want to. So don't restrict yourself. That is a trick. That's a trick of the enemy to make you think that you can worship and praise whenever you want to. So in all this being said, there's a lot more I really wanted to say, but I really want to transmit this to you. Be ready, be leveled up, so that you don't have to try to get leveled up. Have your prayer life intact. Have a relationship with the Lord. So when these tough times comes, because they're going to come, you're going to have trials and tribulations. You may not lose a loved one to COVID. It could be something else. Life is going to be full of trials and tribulations. It's coming. Highs and lows. So it's better to be equipped. And I always say, who's in your corner? Who are the people around you? What people do you have as a support system? Very important to have that. Again, we're back to the same thing again. We always say the same thing. Almost every segment, always go back to that same thing. Prayer, relationship with the Lord, who's in your circle. Have the right people in your circle. So when it's time to go to war, when it's time to power up, you got somebody that can fight with you and on the same page. Because life is a fight. Don't believe that it's not. It is a fight. You better believe you're at war, especially if you're a believer. You're always at war. Even when things are going well and you don't seem to have any problems going on, believe me, something's going to come at you. It's always in the works. So believe that and know that. Man, that's about all we have for this one. Anything else you got for this one, man? We're good, man. We're glad to have you all. Hey, we welcome your comments. What do you think about it? If you have comments or some things you'd like to discuss and some segments in the future, hey, bring them up. We're here for you. Support us. We appreciate you all. And we're going to come back at you with some more really good content. Again, as we always say at the end of all of our segments, power up.
Hey man, and then you always be shining on my ball spot, man. I'm getting thin on the top.
Camera over here. You ain't over there.
The camera's shining, man. Who's the guy who's with you, man? He's a nice looking guy. I'm like, hey man, get back, man.